by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I'm here in studio with the Taylorville Ministerial Association, and that includes bell ringing organizer and coordinator Jessica Franks. Great to have you here, Jessica.
Thanks for having me.
So before we dive into the bell ringing that the Salvation Army puts on every year, I wanted to kind of overview what the Taylorville Ministerial Association is. So I know it's a very wide-ranging umbrella of a organization and association that handles a lot of community projects. So what are some of the projects that the Ministerial Association works on outside of working with the Salvation Army, which is very important, I might add.
Yes. Outside of the bell ringing campaign, those funds that are raised through that campaign actually benefit a lot of the programs that are covered under the Ministerial Association. Those funds could go towards the food pantry, and we help out CEFS, other organizations in the community that do different things.
Excellent. And I know, you are the Ministerial Association. So how does that kind of not dictate, but guide you to what you do?
Well, really, it's just about reaching out, helping people in the community together. All these organizations coming together to be able to meet different needs. We know when there are needs that need to be met that we don't have something that currently helps them. Just developing new things to be able to help people in any area that they may need.
Now, do you? I know your husband Curtis. He's a pastor himself. Are you
Yes.
In any way ordained or anything of that?
No.
Okay,
just the pastor's wife. Yes,
just
sir.
the pastor's wife, and that's what.
Yes.
I like to consider that as like an unofficial pastor in a way,
Right.
but anyway,
Yes.
I guess what is the overall mission for the Taylorville Ministerial Association?
Really, I think it was just established to unite all of the different groups together that were trying to help people in the community that are in need, and just any need that is there, just doing anything we can to be a resource to our community to help them.
If you can think of one, what is the biggest need that you can think of in the community that you often see? Maybe not right now, but maybe just overall.
Well, overall, I feel like that the program that's utilized the most, that's part of the Ministerial Association, would probably be the food pantry. And I feel like that is increasing drastically as things just continue to get more expensive for people. It's something that some people may not see as a need, but they are really they are becoming more and more busy often with that, and housing, and people just unable to afford things, and utilities, things like that. So it's going to be a problem as things get more expensive.
Which is where the Salvation Army can kind of step in and help not only them, but also you got tasks such as helping out the Taylorville food pantry.
Right. And our funds we can distribute among these different parts of the Ministerial Association. So a lot of that will go towards the emergency assistance program and things like, we've had people that have had fires and they need, days to stay in a hotel and things like that. We can help out with hotel stays, with food, with gas, many different things through the Ministerial Association.
Speaking of the Salvation Army, you are, well, not necessarily you, but they are, as part of the Taylorville Ministerial Association, the Salvation Army will be ringing the bell again outside Walmart, I'd understand.
We are doing Walmart.
Okay.
And I have recently been approved to go ahead and start scheduling for Kroger and spoken with them. So we are going to start the first week of December at Kroger also.
That sounds like it's some news that I kind of want to talk to you about on another note, but I'm going to kind of step away for a moment from that, and maybe we'll talk about it off air. But that sounds really exciting as far as the Salvation Army goes. And the bell doesn't ring itself, right?
No, sir, it absolutely does not.
No, so I'm sure that you and Curtis will be out there ringing bells here and there, but you can't be the only ones doing it, can you?
Absolutely not.
So how do you solve that problem?
Well, we have several slots that are available that need to be filled. Last year we had about 112 slots. They are 2-hour slots, anywhere from 10 to 6 on a Friday or a Saturday. So 112 slots we had, and we had about 60% of those filled last year. And the Ministerial Association was able to raise about $10,000 with that. So had we had the other slots filled, it could have just been even much, that much more that would have came into our community to be able to help. So filling those slots is very important.
And you mentioned how that $10,000 went back into the community throughout various organizations, such as the food pantry. Do you have any goals this year on what to do with that fundraising?
We haven't. We just continue to divide it among the areas where the most need is. And if certain parts of the Ministerial Association, such as the food pantry, may get a lot of grant funding, but if their grant funding is down, of course, we need to pour money into wherever the need is most.
And that kind of sounds like that goes into the process of how you determine where that need is.
Yes.
If a organization has a bunch of grants, then their need is probably going to be a little bit lower.
Yes.
Whereas if their grant funding runs out, their need for that moment is going to be a little bit higher.
Absolutely.
And that can change throughout the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Okay. So I guess, how do I sign up to bell ring for the Salvation Army?
Well, if you're a part of a nonprofit organization or a church locally, I've been reaching out to a lot of people, and we tend to try to work in a lot of the nonprofits because we're all, of course, working together in the community to try to do things. So if you work for a nonprofit or you're part of one or a church, you could always reach out to whoever the director or the pastor is of your church and let them know, I would really like for us to be a part of this. But we also have certain families that aren't even associated with any of these things, but they just want to teach their family, their kids, about just working towards the greater good. If you can't give thousands of dollars, but you could stand at Walmart for 2 hours and probably raise $1,000 or $2,000, and it's something you could have never done if you weren't a part of something that was bigger than yourself.
Right. I really like that too. If an organization feels that they are in need of assistance, can they reach out to the Ministerial Association or the Salvation Army? Or I guess how does that work? If somebody is looking for assistance,
if the person is
or the organization rather.
Well, most of the time, I can't recall different organizations that have reached out. The ones that are covered under the Ministerial Association, of course, we would know that there was a need, but
right, because you're communicating with them and whatnot. Right. I guess I'm kind of looking for like the outside. If there's another organization that says, "Hey, I could use a little bit of help." I mean, is there
right? And we are actually approached all the time with people that they see a need in the community that needs to be addressed, but they don't know where to go, what to do to get a ministry started. And they will approach us to ask us for help or direction or things like that. People can always feel free to do that if they feel like there's a need that is not being met. We discuss it, see what we can do to help them. If it's something that needs to be established, we're more than happy to try to work on that.
Yep. And as a Ministerial Association, do you guys have meetings or?
We meet monthly. It is on a Wednesday once a month. We do meet, and that's when each area that's covered under the Ministerial Association, as well as anybody outside of it, they can meet, tell us what, if there are needs, what's going on, just things like that. We make sure what we can do to help each other out.
Pardon the flip-flopping. Going back to the bell ringing, I mean, can I wear a Santa costume? Is that allowed?
You can. And actually, we have a couple of people, they will dress up. They have, and one guy I absolutely love that he helps his church, and also we had a day where the YMCA came out and rang, and he rang with them, and he plays music and sings and wears the Santa outfit, whole 9 yards. Absolutely anything like that, because I mean, I know you're asking for money, but it's a good time of year for that, and people are really starting to be in a giving mood. They're starting to know, what it's like to be in need, and if you're able to help others, but whenever you've got somebody out there singing and happy, it makes it a lot easier. So yeah.
Sounds like that's a welcome.
It is very welcome. Very welcome. Absolutely.
Well, it's starting to feel a lot like Christmas, and Taylorville Ministerial Association Jennifer Franks is here. Jessica Franks, I beg your pardon. Jessica Franks is here to talk a little bit about the bell ringing with the Salvation Army and the Taylorville Ministerial Association's involvement in such. So more from her after this short break here on WTIM, your information station. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first.
WTIM.
This is a station editorial. I'm Randall J. Miller, station president. Well, it's the holiday season, the season of thanks for our many blessings and for the birth of Jesus Christ. Despite another year of rancor and division in our country, we still live in the greatest country in the world, where we can do and say just about anything as long as we follow the rule of law. Not many countries have the freedoms we do, and many times we don't stop and think about it. Time marches on for us all. I thank God for my faith, my family, and for the extended family I have in every one of you, our listeners. I'll be celebrating 50 years in the radio business I love in 2023. I've been blessed to have been part of the Taylorville, Shelbyville, Pana communities with our Taylorville cluster of stations for the past 30 years, and 15 years in our Clinton, Monticello, Lincoln markets. Our two legacy stations this year celebrated anniversaries too. WTIM in Taylorville threw a party in May with the Greater Taylorville Chamber of Commerce to honor that station's 70th anniversary, and WHOW in Clinton is celebrating 75 years of service with a fun evening as well. While all of us have challenges every day, it's important to stop, reflect, and be thankful for all that God has given each of us. May you and your family have a most blessed holiday season, and may the love we share this time of year extend into the new year ahead. Quoting Henry Wadsworth Longfellow from the poem The Harvest Moon, it is the harvest moon on gilded vanes and roofs of villages on woodland crests, and their aerial neighborhoods of nests deserted on the curtain window panes of rooms where children sleep, on country lanes and harvest fields, its mystic splendor rests. That's our opinion. We welcome yours. Our email address is editorial@randyradio.com. That's editorial@randyradio.com.
Stay tuned at the end of every Tornado Sports broadcast on WTIM's many platforms on AM, FM, and streamed online when our announcers select the WTIM Brandon Bible Country Financial Tornado Player of the Game from that particular game. The player will be spotlighted for their great play in that game and also given a certificate honoring their accomplishment. Brandon Bible, your local country financial representative at 1305 West Spresser in Taylorville, is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the WTIM Tornado Player of the Game this school year and wishes all the teams much success this school year. Go Tornadoes!
Taylorville Care Center, Taylorville's premier nursing facility, is hiring, offering the best opportunities in town with new wages, elite pay, and premium pay programs for RNs, LPNs, and CNAs. Get more by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Hi, this is Will Perkins with Taylorville Community Credit Union. Find out about all the products and services we provide by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
You're listening to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust. They put people first. I have the Taylorville Ministerial Association's Jennifer Franks in studio. It's great to have you here. Jessica Franks. I'm so sorry. I keep saying Jennifer. Jessica Franks, it's great to have you here in studio.
Thanks for having me.
Reset and go forward. Okay, so you are looking for volunteers for the Taylorville Ministerial Association's bell ringing with the Salvation Army. And I guess I wanted to know why. I mean, obviously, there's a pretty good reason to volunteer because you're helping out, you're making a bigger purpose. But I'm sitting here on the fence thinking, man, I don't know if I want to volunteer. I guess what would you say to that person, to the me who's like, well, sounds nice, but I've got this going on and everything else is going on. So what would you say to that person?
I just feel like it's a great opportunity for someone that even maybe you're not involved in a church or something like that, but you still care about your community and you want to be able to help out. It's a great way to just invest 2 hours of your time and be able to help, like I said, with something that's just much bigger than yourself, much bigger than what you'd be able to do.
And again, all that money raised, and last year you raised about $10,000. I
Yes.
understand that's a
Yes.
very good mark, and I bet you're shooting for more this year. But all of that money goes back into the community, and that's what's so special about this.
Right, exactly. And a lot of people think, with Salvation Army that this is going to go to some kind of larger corporation and maybe a little get funneled back to us. But we end up with a little over 85% of the funds stay directly in our county. So it's going to benefit, us greatly.
Right. And
here.
then the rest, because it is the Salvation Army,
Exactly.
they got to take a small cut, but
Right.
that 85%, that's significant.
It is. And people, like, there's marketing, there's supplies we have to have. There are things we don't spend money on. Those things, they are things that we are given from them. So that percentage really,
they earn
it's
that
huge.
percentage.
They
too.
really do. They
I
really
see.
do.
I
Yes.
see. That's really cool too. Well, how can someone get in touch with you to sign up to volunteer for the bell ringing?
Okay. You can call me directly. I never mind for anyone to call. I have a schedule where I'm trying to get people set up, and they can contact me. If you want to contact the Ministerial Association, your church pastor, or if you, like I said, if you're part of a nonprofit, you could always ask them to reach out to someone at the Ministerial Association, or just contact me directly.
All right. Do you have a phone number you'd like to leave?
Yes, that's fine. It is 217-561-3808.
Okay. 561-3808.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, you mentioned, we kind of brought up the Santa suits and dressing up, and that sounds like it's a pretty effective tactic to get people to donate. But do you have any other bell ringing tips for those who do decide to volunteer?
Well, really just being there, and we don't really want large groups, but we oftentimes have several smaller groups that will get together and come and do it, and families that will come together and do that. So many different people that have volunteered with us in the past, and I could start naming different organizations and stuff like that, but I know it was really great. I really support the Safe Passage program. Absolutely love everything they do. And even that group was able to get a whole entire day covered of people that have worked that program and came out of it and are doing better. And then they came back and they spent a day volunteering, doing bell ringing through Safe Passage. So it's awesome to see people like that have been in such a bad spot in their life come back and start to reach out and begin to help the community that helped them when they needed help.
Right. That's very important too, that all walks of life come out and help the
Absolutely.
Ministerial Association. Is there anything else that you'd like to add or include about your bell ringing efforts here? And again, when does it start again?
We start right after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
We'll start that Friday, and we have a group on Saturday there at Walmart, but we'll go all the way up to the weekend before Christmas. So the last day will be Christmas Eve, and some of those shifts, as they begin to get closer to Christmas, it is harder to get those covered. And so if anyone could, even if it's just the 2 hours, you don't even have to commit to a full day with your group. If you're just a single person or a family that wants to come for 2 hours, everybody is welcome to do it. We would appreciate the help.
Is there anything I've missed or anything else that you'd like to highlight when it comes to your effort to raise money for the Taylorville Ministerial Association and the Salvation Army?
No, I feel like you've really covered it
Okay.
well. I feel good about it.
Well, what about the and any other highlights going on within the Taylorville Ministerial Association that you'd like to touch on before we go?
I can't think of anything that we have currently going on.
But what about in the last few months? Anything that you'd like to, lack of a better term, brag about a little bit?
Well, it's not even so much that you would want to brag about it, but I feel like that as the needs in the community have continued to grow, we have been able to address those things and try to, the areas where maybe funding has, like we talked about, funding ran out, we've been able to continue to meet that need. But as the need continues to grow, we need to continue to grow the funding. So, just help us out.
Sounds like your expectation is that need will continue to grow too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sadly, but yes. And we want to never have to turn anybody away or be unable to help them. And so we need help making sure that we don't have to do that.
Go ahead and share your phone number one more time, or how you can sign up
Okay.
for the bell ringing.
You can contact me at 217-561-3808 or contact your pastor, any local church to be able to reach out to us, or your nonprofit organizations.
That is Taylorville Ministerial Association's coordinator for the bell ringing, Jessica Franks. You're on the WTIM Morning Show. Thank you so much for your time, Jessica.
Thank you for having us. Thanks.
Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. And again, you'll find those streams online on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com, Facebook, or on YouTube at WTIM TV. You can also listen to WTIM anytime when you go to TaylorvilleDailyNews.com and click on the WTIM podcast icon or the WTIM Listen Live icon. Again, at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Former President Trump gearing up for another White House run. We'll find out later today. Mr. Trump planning what he calls a special announcement from his Florida home. That